Hi, welcome to the Squibb House. I'm Bruce Black. Let's go in and take a look. Squibb House has been part of Cambria for many, many decades, built in 1877 by this man, Frederick Dark. Frederick Dark was a Civil War veteran, served 2 terms in the Civil War, came to Cambria from his home state of Pennsylvania, and was a school principal here for many years. The house then sold to the Patterson family. The Pattersons had 3 generations of that family living in the house, and Mr. Patterson was the town carpenter. Patterson operated the carpentry shop, which is next door, which we now call the shop next door. It sells Amish-built furniture in the tradition of continuing with that carpentry theme. The Amish craftsmen that we have that build the furniture from Pennsylvania and Ohio and do a very variety of Amish-built custom and specialty items.
Really?
The owners after the Patterson family was the Van Gordon family. Mr. Van Gordon was justice of the peace and a judge here in the area, and they actually held court in the house. Decisions were made on issues as to drunk and disorderly, if you took your neighbor's horse. Anything that needed to be settled in court was settled in the hallway in the house next to Mr. Van Gordon's large roll-top desk. Following the Van Gordon ownership, the property was bought by Paul and Louise Squibb, who were just so beloved by this community and were fixtures here for 4 decades. The Squibbs began this thing known as squibbing, where when they would take their walks, they would take a garbage bag with them and pick up trash along the way. And it's still celebrated and done today by the Historical Society. I came upon the property in 1993 after the Squibbs had passed and it was part of settling their estate. I originally was from Pennsylvania, just like the Civil War veteran and like the man who gave Cambria its name, who was originally from Pennsylvania in the Johnstown area. The house had been sitting empty for a number of years, and so I was drawn to it, maybe by destiny, maybe by design, but there was something about the house that called to me, and so began the process of converting it into the bed and breakfast that it is today and has been for almost 30 years. In addition to the Squibb House, we have another new old structure called the Black Barn. We'll take a look at it. The plans for this structure began in 2002 and it was completed in 2017 when we began receiving guests. Now, even though it's a new structure, the material for this building was from the old barn that my great-great-grandfather built in the 1870s on the family farm where I grew up in Pennsylvania. So we'll take a look inside. So the material for the inside of the building also came from the old barn. The beams, the wood flooring. We also serve breakfast at our breakfast bar area here. And this room was designed to make maximum use of the light. There's skylights overhead and lots of windows, so the natural light fills this room at all times of the day. We served breakfast at this great breakfast table, which was the carpenter's bench for the carpentry shop next door that Mr. Patterson used during his years here. This was actually the inspiration for the beginning of this building. When I found this in the old carpentry shop, I said someday there'll be a room built around this table and it'll be a great place for dining and for breakfast. So here in the front we see the architectural style of the building, which is the same as the building that was built here in the 1800s. It's the square front barn style that was used for commercial purposes, where the person who had their business in the barn would then advertise whatever the business was on the square front above. The material on the front of the barn is the old siding from the barn that came from Pennsylvania, and we have the flagstone patio that is another place for people to gather and make memories.